Hello everybody. Well, I had put a picture up a little earlier on Instagram showing off my recent rearranging here in the shop. And if you guys didn't see that, that was the photo of this gloriousness here. And because I now have 3 2x72 grinders, and if you are a knife maker and ever needed to swap belts, being able to go to individual grit on an individual machine is a incredible, wonderful thing, right up there with central AC. But I had a question, one of the Facebook posts from Mr. Gary Connor, I believe, about what is the best sander for a mid-range shop. So there's a lot to unpack there, and I'll try to keep this as concise as possible. So if you are a mid-range shop, you're not a mid-range shop. When you get into this particular level of things, you're either in or you're out. You know, saying that you're mid-range, it's just not going to be there. There really isn't a mid-range sander. You know, we're used to going into the store and finding, poor, medium, and best quality stuff. It's set up like that for a reason, because that's all consumer grade stuff. When you get to doing work, it is either the right stuff or it's the wrong stuff. And I hate to put in such sweeping generalities, but it either works the right way or it doesn't. And you're going to find out that that's a big thing. For example, there is no such thing as a mid-range power hammer. If you're doing production work, you need a power hammer. If you make a treadle hammer, or you make some kind of power hammer with a sledgehammer and 2 geese and a gay mule, it's just, it may work. More power to you. It may work, but it's not going to do the job that you need it to do. So if you're going to be making knives, you're going to be making good knives in a good amount of time, then you're going to need an appropriate 2x72 sander. Now, there are several flavors out there to choose from. You can even build your own, but I want everybody to understand about this whole building your own thing. You're going to invest as much time building the thing as it would be for you to go out and buy it. Okay, that's just the way it is. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but if you've got the extra time and you've got the mechanical knowledge and the other tools to build it, then please go forth. But even for somebody like me who has built a lot of top-end equipment, I'm going to go buy one. So let's take a quick look. These 3 sanders pretty much represent the course of my career. This first Baldor here, it's a Burr King, but it uses a Baldor motor. I bought this from Mr. Ed Jackson, who lived in Shellman, Georgia. He was a local knife maker and knife sharpener. He went all the local turnip events and sharpened knives. And he sold this one to me for $600. And this that was, my God, 15 years ago, more than that. Excellent machine. Never changed anything on it except the belts. It is rough and tumble. The problem is that this machine is still going to be, with that size motor, which I believe is 1 horse on this one, is still going to start about $2,000. I got this one not long after I competed on Forged in Fire, and this is a Beaumont KMG, Beaumont Metalworks KMG, also a very well made machine. It is machined onto a plate. Everything is nice and milled out. Also has the variable speed with a 2 horsepower motor. Again, good machine. But this guy right here, I got right after I was on Master of Arms, and this is my darling. Now, for all intents and purposes, these machines do all the same job. But the reason that I like the Ameribraid so much is it's kind of the height of simplicity for what I'm doing. Again, KMG, Beaumont, really nice machine, machined, everything's taller on that end of it. It's an expensive machine. In fact, I think the Ameribraid is one of the cheaper ones because of the way that it's built. It's on a welded pedestal. There is these tubes here that also has a work rest as well. This is all hollow tube that's bought off the shelf, whereas the KMG has this nice machine slot. But even this guy doesn't have the work rest here. So the Ameribraid kind of comes in this very compact, very useful package with all the bells and whistles that you would want. And she is kind of my favorite. A couple of guys out in California put these together. Again, Extremely simple design and extremely effective. I think the Ameribraid, if you get a 2 horsepower motor on it, I think it's still about $2 grand. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at prices in a long time, but I do remember the Ameribraid being one of the cheaper options, and in my opinion, one of the better ones. So there's not going to be a mid-grade sander. You're either going to jump in and get the good stuff or not. If you are a knife maker and you're looking to step up, do not get anything less than a horsepower motor. In fact, if at all possible, and I mean if at all possible, get the 2-horse version. I promise you, you will not regret it. If you're serious about making knives, buy the good equipment. Now, a little while ago, I think I read one of the best ways to explain this about why you buy good equipment. Write this down. And it was actually talking about hunting. Of course, down here in South Georgia, it is prime hunting season. And of course, on the plantations, there's a lot of quail hunts, and there's people that work the hunts. And what would happen is that the guide, who usually had a little bit more money, the guide would buy a super high quality pair of boots. Sometimes it was $600-700, but that pair of boots would last him 15 years. You know, he'd have it resold because it was good quality. But the poor guy would actually just go buy the cheapest boots he could find, and they may last him a season. So he got away with spending less money up front. But in the course of everything, he ended up spending a lot more money on his boots than the guy that got the good stuff. And the good stuff not only worked better, it was more comfortable, and probably let him do his job better. So, I know it hurts. Nobody wants to spend money. I'm right there with you. But if you're going to do good work, you've got to have good equipment. So, there is no mid-range. There is no try. Get the good stuff. Check out Ameribraid. Check you guys later.